Hello again, and welcome back to another episode of the Grit, Give, Recognize, Implement Time podcast. I'm your host, Steve Nathanson, CEO and founder at Strive for More, and today we're continuing our conversation on strategy. Last week, we talked about the nuts and bolts of creating an actual strategy for our teams. Now we're going to talk about how do we actually convey that in a compelling way for the future. So how do I convey a compelling vision for the future? First and foremost, what's in it for them? What's the value in this future for those that we're sharing it with? Our employees, the organization, whomever else it is that we're trying to get on board. What's in it for them? That's business 101. What's in it for them, right? What's in it for my customers? Same thing. If we look at our employees that way, what's in it for our employees? What's going to actually cause them to buy in? Because they see value, importance, and align with what that vision holds. So when we know what's in it for them, the value in it for them, then it's easier to speak in a very compelling way to somebody and get them bought in because they are aligned with it fundamentally. A couple other things that we've talked about before in the show that align with that are how do we want people to feel? How do we want them to act? And what do we want them to think? This is something called the hat trick from Christy Mandor. And this is something that is great in terms of actually conveying this compelling future, aligning with what's in it for them. What's the value in there? If we know how we want people to feel, we want the actions that they to take, if we know the actions we want them to take, and then we want them to think a certain way, we can build that again into our language, the stories that tell, the words that we use, and get them to buy in because, again, we're speaking directly to something that has meaning, value, and purpose to them and is compelling. That's the crux of it. Figure out who your audience is, speak directly to them. One of the other things that we overlook and is often forgotten by organizations and never addressed is what are people losing? When we talk about strategy specifically in organizations, reorganizations, we're restructuring, we're going in different directions, we have to talk about what people are losing. If we don't, it's going to fester, it's going to create dissonance, and it's going to be an issue down the line that's going to blow up. When we actually understand what people are losing, for instance, say we've done something for 30 years this way, and now we're going to do it a new way. They may only see the surface level, right? They may say, well, we've always done it this way. Why are we changing? It's not broken. We don't need to fix it. It's natural, right? Natural for them to say that. And that's another thing. Embrace that. It's okay. When we go into a conversation like this and we don't want people to feel that way, we don't want them to do this, we fight against the natural grain of being human, right? It's okay for them to question it. It's okay for them to be hesitant, and it's okay for them not to like it. It's natural. People don't typically like change. If we get over that and we go into the mentality that, you know what, it's okay, they're going to react this way, then it's actually easier to pivot and a shift and have a real conversation with them because we've already known that, you know what, this is a natural reaction we have. No big deal. That's okay. We can handle it. And that's very important because when we talk about what people lose, then we can actually have a chance to overcome it. Versus if we don't talk about it, we just plow forward. Hey, this is what we're doing. It's changing. Go forth and prosper. We're much more likely to create this dissonance and have people not buy in because we've just completely talked over them. We've not given them a voice and we've not cared. We've just told them this is what it is. Good luck, right? No one likes that. So when we figure out what are they losing, then we can actually bring it out, address it, and talk about how they're regaining that in the new system, the new way, because they may not see that. They may just be focused on this process is going away. But maybe there's a very specific reason why that process is going away, and the new one is actually a lot better and is going to overcome challenges and hurdles that they have been complaining about, let's say, have wanted fixed. We have to address that, bring that out. Otherwise, people are not going to buy on board. So, fundamentally, what's in it for them? How do you want them to feel, act, and think? Because that's going to craft our language and the way we compel people through that language. Being human and recognizing that it's natural for them to question, to be hesitant, to not like something on a surface level. That's okay. That, guess what? Mentality is also going to shift the way that we convey our message and how we interact with people and come across better to get them bought in. And then lastly, to craft a compelling vision, we have to address what's being lost. Don't just glide over it. Don't ignore it. Don't be too hard-nosed of this is how it is. Too bad. Go forth and prosper. Good luck, because that just turns people off. Instead, if we actually call out those elephants in the room and we have a conversation around it, then we have a much better chance of bringing people on board. And we're going to dive more in depth in this next time when we talk about how to deal with people who are resistant to our visions, who are not getting on board. We're going to talk about how to do that specifically. So, going to save that for next time. But this specific framework for conveying a compelling vision, again, it starts with knowing your audience, right? What's in it for them, knowing how we want them to feel, act, and think. What are they losing, and what do we need to address to actually bring out concerns and questions into the open and have a conversation around it, and embrace that it's okay for them to not be on board right from the beginning and have hesitancy to be questioning it, because that's natural. And if we fight against that, it's going to make our job harder. But if we embrace it, it's going to make our job easier. And then we're going to have a lot more success in buy-in, getting people on board and engaging them and bringing them in. So as I said, next time we're going to dive a little bit more specifically into that case of when people are resistant, what do we do? So look forward to having that conversation with you very shortly. And until then, be the movement in your life.